Hey everyone, this is Jackie over at Rendall's Certified Cleaning Services here with your weekly audio e-newsletter. This is the week of December 7th, 2015. I know it's been a couple weeks since we haven't put out an e-newsletter, but thank you so much for joining us this week and continuing forward. So this week we talk about urine trouble. I've been looking forward to writing this one for a long time. Urine is one of my top favorite subjects to discuss with anyone who will listen. It's rather fascinating once you learn about it. Anyway, let's take a look at this vital excretion and later talk about some ways to get rid of the urine trouble areas. In other words, where urine doesn't belong, like on your carpet, upholstery, and rugs. Bear with me for a moment as I become a little emotional writing about this. I was just reminded of my favorite dog who ever owned me. His name was Dante. Dante was a rescue lab and something, and the smartest dog I've ever known. Being as smart as he was didn't absolve him of having an occasional urine issue though. Fact is, he had a couple of urine oopsies in the 8 years he owned us. After our chats, what, you don't have chats with your dogs? He would be good for months and months. But once in a while, especially as he aged, he would get a little overexcited and occasionally leave a little warm yellow spot for us to step in. Always while we're wearing socks, of course. And then we'd have the chat again and he'd be fine. Then he got sick and started leaving more and more wet yellow spots for us to step in. But our chats didn't work any longer. Somehow, in that moment, it didn't matter. My buddy Dante was sick and, sadly, passed pretty quickly. I knew his time was short with us and our chats weren't important any longer. Pure love always trumps inconvenience. I digress. It's been many years since we lost Dante, but our memories with him still bring much joy and tears. Thank you for bearing with me. Urine is fascinating for so many reasons. Here are just a few. Urine is rich in nitrogen, was used by the Romans to whiten teeth, is used in fertilizer, can be used to help compost organic materials, was used to manufacture gunpowder prior to the development of the chemical industry, was used to tan hides, can be consumed after filtering, breaks down and forms ammonia, and was used as a cleaning agent. Pretty cool, huh? Alright, so let's look at what happens when you have urine trouble. Again, urine trouble, meaning urine where it's not supposed to be, especially carpet, upholstery, and rugs. When urine is first excreted, it comes out rather neutral in pH. By the way, contrary to popular lore, urine is not sterile throughout any of the secretion/excretion process. That doesn't mean it's dangerous, it just means it's not bacteria-free. Urine is about 91 to 96% water and contains organic and inorganic compounds like urea, sodium, hormones, proteins, and metabolites. To sum it up, urine is basically lots of water with low percentages of some other stuff in it. The other stuff we need to be concerned about, if it's in your carpet, upholstery, or rugs, is mostly urea, which causes the ammonia odor, salt, and a metabolite called urobilin, otherwise known as urochrome. As mentioned, urea causes the odor. You may notice that a fresh urine spot doesn't really have much of a smell to it. As the urine ages, bacteria attacks it. The bacterial waste of urine consumption forms ammonia, meaning the ammonia odor isn't actually the urine itself, but rather the waste byproducts of bacteria consuming the urine. Pretty cool, huh? Hold on to your hats, it gets even cooler. If urine was left to its own devices in a protected area, like a cave, it would take over 200 years to completely break down from natural bacterial action alone. 200 plus years. And here you thought urine was merely a liquid yellow inconvenience. Bah! Another component we're concerning ourselves with is the metabolite urochrome. I prefer to call it urochrome because it's easier for me to remember, although biologists, doctors, and scientists call it urobilin. Urochrome is what makes urine yellow, or green, blue, red, brown, or even black, depending on what you've eaten or if you have an obscure disease, in which case I would highly recommend you speak with a doctor or vet right away. This urochrome also does something very cool. It fluoresces under a long wave blacklight in the 365 nm to 390 nm wavelength. Aw yeah, the cool can has just been opened and is about to spill over. Alright, let me tell you one more cool thing about urine before going to the "enough already, Scott, how the hell do I get rid of it from my carpet, upholstery, and rugs" section. As I mentioned above, urine also contains sodium, also known as salt. Salt is hygroscopic, meaning it's continually pulling moisture from the surrounding environment. Have you ever picked up a bag of salt and it's damp and sometimes wet? Or opened a bag of salt for melting the ice off the driveway, used some, sealed it up until the next winter, and opened it the following year to discover the salt is all clumped together? That's due to the hygroscopic nature of sodium. That means the salt in the urine pulls moisture from the air and will continue to do so until it's neutralized and ultimately removed. Alright, with the wickedly cool science out of the way, how can we find it and get rid of it? Have you ever walked into a room and smelled urine, but you were not quite sure where it was coming from? Oh boy, we sure have. Virtually every day. But then again, that's our job. Let's get to the bottom of this. First, let's talk about black light detection. Above, I mentioned that long-wave black lights in the 365 nm to 390 nm range can detect urine. Can detect urine, but not always. The older a urine spot, the more the urochrome sets, and higher chance of fluorescing under the black light. Sometimes cleaning can remove the urochrome, which doesn't mean the urea or sodium is gone. Meaning it may still stink because the contaminants are still there, but you can't see it under a black light. But, truth be told, a good black light in a darkened room is a great way, in most cases, to quickly find urine. Now, let's look at the beloved, but not as Star Warsy, moisture detector. Because the ubiquitous salt found in urine is hygroscopic, a device called a moisture detector can be probed into the material, especially carpet and rugs. The pins might damage upholstery, so we wouldn't do that, which, when comes into contact with the urine, will cause the meter to beep and light up. We can also push down the probes of the detector a good 3/4 of an inch or so to detect if the carpet padding, and even subfloor, has urine salt in it. The meter is kind of dumb though, but it's not stupid. It can tell us if there's some moisture present, caused by hygroscopic salt, water, or anything water-based still in a liquid state. But it can't tell us exactly how much is there, what it is, or exactly how deep it goes. It's a quick and dirty second test after the blacklight exam. The faster the beeping/flashing, the more concentrated the hygroscopic area. So far we've covered 2 tests, the blacklight and moisture detector. Well, 3 tests, I suppose. The first test was you walking into the room and smelling urine. The next test is like the first test, but this one involves getting down on one's hands and knees and sniffing the areas that were suspected by the blacklight and/or moisture detector. It may sound funny, but the sniff test is vital to confirm that we've been suspecting is actually urine. Chances are pretty great that if the suspected area fluoresced under the blacklight and beeped/flashed with the moisture detector, that it is indeed urine. But if either of those 2 tests failed to give a result, the old sniff test never lies. Unless you have a bad sniffer, then it's time to call us. Oh, I just remembered one more cool thing about urine. Remember above I said if left to its own devices in a protected area, that urine would take over 200 years to degrade from natural bacteria alone? There is a way to speed that up, significantly. There are products in the market called enzymes that speed up the biodegradation process from 200 plus years down to like 48 hours or less. You may have heard of a product called Nature's Miracle. It is an enzyme that is precisely designed to biodegrade urine, feces, vomit, and other organic compounds. It works pretty well and we recommend it often. But You knew there was going to be a but, didn't you? Enzymes don't do a daggum thing to get rid of the urochrome, sodium, and the other metabolites and compounds found in urine. Enzymes will pull the stink down pretty quickly, although not as fast as we prefer. We like under an hour or two, depending on severity, and this is where having the right knowledge, equipment, and chemistry comes in. We use a subsurface extraction tool hooked up to our powerful truck-mounted hot water extraction machine to flush out those nasty urine salts, decomposing urea, metabolites, etc. This subsurface extraction tool allows us to literally flood the area, including the carpet, pad, and subfloor from the top side down, with decontamination products that are designed to quickly break down the urine salts, urea, etc. The tool compresses the pad while in use, essentially wringing out the pad while we clean. Carpet pad is tricky because of all the tiny cells. Think of carpet pad as a giant sponge, because that's basically what it is. Urine likes to hide in the cells of the contaminated pad. Overcoming the cells by saturation with our decontamination products forces the urine out and into the tool, down the vacuum, and into our truck mount waste tank. We then use copious amounts of fresh water to rinse out the decontamination product and the released biocontaminants, leaving the carpet, pad, and subfloor free of the urine contamination. Our last step is to speed dry the carpet, although the pad and subfloor may remain a little damp for 24 hours or so, which is no concern. Alright, so there you have it. Everything you wanted to know and then some about urine trouble. Any questions, comments, concerns? We're here to help you. 810-225-2184. Oh, one last thing. Feel free to share this mind-melting edition with your pet-loving friends. And definitely use your new urine knowledge to fascinate/gross out your friends and family members at your next gathering. It's an exceptionally fun topic to discuss around the dinner table. Scott Rendall, president and wearer of many hats. And that's it for this edition of the Rendall's Cleaning World-Class e-newsletter. Thank you so much for subscribing and listening. We'll see you next week.